A passenger is dragged, bloody and screaming, from a flight. We set out to verify the rules of the air and how often that actually happens. She's been missing for more than 4 years. Now the search is focused on her former boyfriend's backyard.
And a safe that sat locked for years is finally opened and may somehow be connected to a serial killer.
Recreational marijuana has been legal in Colorado since the end of 2012. There's no way to outlaw a stigma, and it certainly still surrounds many who choose to use cannabis. One woman in Colorado calls herself the stoner mom, and she'd like to have a word with you about stereotypes.
My name is Catherine Van Eaton, and I'm the stoner mom. I'm very normal, standard mom, and I'm also a blogger and a vlogger and a user of cannabis. The purpose of the stoner mom is to shed a light on parenthood and adult use of cannabis. I really try to talk about responsible cannabis use as much as I can. I'm just working hard to break the stigma of cannabis users as being lazy, irresponsible, bad parents. So when mommy blogging became big, it was awesome because moms could be like, oh, I'm a mom and I do this, or oh, I'm a mom and I do that, right? There's all these different niches that they could get into in the context of being a mom. I'm a working mom, I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm a Christian mom, I'm an atheist mom. Now that cannabis can be like introduced and attached to mom, you can do all those same things. I would get high with my girlfriend, you know, on like girls' night in, and we would just talk about how funny it was that we were secretly smoking pot and we were the same moms that you know, were home, not getting any sleep, or, you know, just that people didn't really know. That the mom at the grocery store with the enormous grocery bill is also a pothead. Cannabis use is okay, and you're not the devil if you use it and you're a parent.
If you know someone who is passionate about any topic, not just the ones you can smoke, let us know. We'll share their story with the rest of Colorado. Email next@9news.com or get our attention anytime with the hashtag #HeyNext. Colorado now has a law granting you immunity if you break a dog out of a hot car, provided that you follow the rules. You may remember the bill's sponsor was on Next, saying that it was community response to our commentary about finding a dog in a hot car that led her to introduce this act, which Governor Hickenlooper signed today. We've been through the rules here before. You have to have a reasonable belief that the pet might die in the car. You can only use reasonable force to get in. You have to try and find the owner. You have to call authorities. And you have to stay on scene.
Fort Lupton's police department comes to this track once a year to practice something they do daily. The last time Officer Paul Grossman had his lights and sirens on, he saved someone's life. This crash on 1st and Pacific in Fort Lupton yesterday may not look very serious, but Officer Grossman immediately knew something was wrong.
When I first rolled up to the scene, some witnesses were panicking, they were distraught.
The man in the truck was slumped over unconscious. The doors were locked, so Officer Grossman busted out the windows. Paramedics say it's fortunate he did. The victim was turning blue but started breathing again when Officer Grossman performed CPR. Saving someone's life is a bonding experience. Grossman says he felt a special connection to the person behind the wheel of this truck. Turns out, he helped save the life of a brother in blue, former Adams County Deputy John Bailey. Until then, he's training even harder, knowing what he learns here may help him get to scenes like this.
Police officers all over the country do this every single day.
His commitment to help, just part of the job.
I mean, I'm no special guy.
Jessica O, 9 News.
Hour after hour Thursday, investigators paced through a backyard once belonging to Dante Lucas, the boyfriend of Kelsey Schelling.
And right now, detectives are in the backyard, just digging up and excavating some areas and just looking for any evidence.
According to her family, Kelsey met with Lucas February 4th, 2013, after learning she was 2 months pregnant with his child. It's the last time anyone saw her. 9 Wants to Know dug into Lucas's background and found that he was charged with identity theft and theft of under $500 nearly 2 weeks after Kelsey disappeared. The court record shows police believed he committed those crimes February 5th, 1 day after Kelsey was last seen. The charges were dropped, the records sealed. Police consider Lucas a person of interest in the case.
It's an ongoing investigation. It has never stopped.
At the Glenwood Post-Independent, Randy Essex and the staff work to report the latest news, but it's news from 30 years ago.
We were certainly surprised.
That's putting this newspaper in the international spotlight. For years, everyone thought there was no way to get into this locked safe.
I was told that a locksmith had looked at it and decided that there was no way to open it.
I think the biggest key...
Then locksmith Wade Winton thought maybe he should have a crack at it.
We do it more often than you'd actually think.
Not only finding a way to get it open,
start to look inside, oh, what's going to be in here?
But finding something amazing inside.
Came upon this trove of Ted Bundy photos.
Old pictures of serial killer Ted Bundy.
Bundy jail blackboard.
Who led police on a 6-day manhunt near Glenwood in the 70s.
Ted Bundy's such a creep. You see these photos and he's got this big smile on his face.
It was one mystery solved, while another...
They're time capsules back to the past.
Sits just a few feet away.
There's a safe built into a wall.
In a second, locked safe just waiting to be cracked.
This building has been a lot of things. It's been a liquor distributorship. I understand that it was part of a mortuary at one point.
Sitting all this time, maybe like the other one, keeping more pieces of Glenwood's history safe.
Heck, maybe Doc Holliday's real derringers in that other safe.
Thank you. First off, yes, involuntary bumping is allowed. And the U.S. Department of Transportation says it happened to 1 in 14,000 passengers last year. Each carrier sets its own rules about which passengers to bump when no one wants to volunteer. That usually happens before boarding. And if it's you, federal rules say the airline owes you money, depending on how much later you arrive at your destination. For example, if you're involuntarily bumped and you arrive more than 2 hours late to your destination, you're entitled to 400% of the cost of your ticket with a cap of $1,350. However, you're not entitled to any money if you're delayed less than an hour. You can also sue if an airline doesn't offer compensation when it's warranted. There are exceptions to involuntary bumping. Federal rules say the airline doesn't owe you money if you're bumped off a charter or commercial flights with less than 30 seats, or foreign carriers entering the U.S. Delta and United also say they try not to bump minors flying alone, military members with travel orders, first-class passengers, and frequent flyers.